Hello and welcome. So, your business website could be doing more for you, and it's really easy to get it to that point. So, we're going to talk about why your business website is more than just like people refer to it now like a digital business card. It's really a 24/7 partner. And so, whether you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, freelance, or group organizer, your website is really the foundation of everything else that you put out there to reach your audience, your client, your customers, so on and so forth. So, if you're looking to grow and expand and streamline your communications, and you need to make your website work harder for you. So, we're gonna get started and talk about how you can do that in some very easy steps. Let's get the party started.
So watch our channel, come and see and laugh and learn, and you'll agree you'll make your tech life easier with your tech coach.
Alrighty, so we have got some things to talk about. Let's make sure that's working. That's working. That's good. Okay, so your website is very, very important to your overall communication plan. You want to get the word out to folks. You need to make sure that your website is working for you because it's there 24/7 working for you. But there's a lot of ways that people are not maximizing it. And so we're going to talk about some things that you need to consider and hopefully implement at least some of them, right? Because a well-designed, sturdy, attractive website and a findable website can help you attract new clients and customers. It can definitely help you share key info with your audience and your community at large. And it is really there as a part of the overall puzzle to help build trust and get brand recognition out there, right? So it's a chance to showcase what you have to offer. And in a way that makes it clear that you are serious about the business that you are doing. So whether, whatever level you're at, solo, freelancer, entrepreneur, however many, you want to make sure that you're making the most out of this very valuable asset. And frankly, it's such a big win for such little effort. We probably should have talked about this earlier. So we're going to talk tech about how you can optimize your business website to help you meet your own business goals. For anybody who is new here, welcome. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. Short version of the story is technology is my day gig. It's also my hobby. So friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers tend to come to me when they're looking for recommendations, when they have a question, when they have a problem, when they're looking for ideas. And so I know not everybody has somebody like that out there. So hello, that's why I'm here. We meet once a week to talk about these things. And yes, I have a website and you can go there to learn more about me if you want to stay on top of what's coming down the pike. And also you can fill out the form. So if you have an idea for content that you want me to cover here, if you want to buy one of my courses, if you are looking for one-on-one consults, all that's here. See, case in point. Alrighty, so let's dive in and get this started. Hello and welcome to everybody who's joining from all the different places. Appreciate it. I'm testing some different things, so hopefully this is going to go well. But you gotta experiment. You gotta try new things because life is change. And how do you know what's going to work if you don't try stuff, right? All right, so let's cover the very first thing that we want to talk about, and frankly, for this conversation, the most important thing. Do you have a website? Okay, even just a one-page website. People tend to get a little overwhelmed when they start to think about a website and, oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to build it. I don't know how to hire somebody. I don't have time to do the content. Don't overthink this. Okay, seriously, a one-page website that covers the things we're going to talk about is all you need. Over time, obviously, you can add to it if you want to, but a one-page website is absolutely critical, and to be quite frank, it's not optional. You really need to have that. So according to a bunch of different surveys, right, about half of the small business owners out there don't have a website. So this is equivalent to starting a business without bothering to tell anybody about it, right? Or, putting a sign outside of a storefront. Why are you keeping it a secret? You don't want to keep it a secret. And the other thing is, a lot of people will come back and be, well, I'm on, this social platform, that social platform, so on and so forth. That's great. You need to be in those places too. However, the website is the one thing out there in the internet that you have total and full control over, right? Social platforms come and go. You can get banned, right, for over nothing on a whatever platforms you're on. Happens all the time, right? Your account can get hacked. Like there's all kinds of things that can happen. The algorithm could go against you, right? Because it didn't like something you said, or somebody who has too much time and too much power, starts screwing with you. They can bury you. But your website is there. It's findable. It's something people can search for. It's something people can share. So this way, whatever else happens on whatever other platforms you're on, having a website means that people can always, always find you and share you, right? A part of this particular recommendation, tip, whatever you want to call it, is make sure that when you're doing it, you're getting a domain name that reflects your business. Now, yes, it has gotten a little harder over the years to get the exact one. This took some time, but you could, if you can't get the .com, get the .net. Like there are some different ways to do it, but make sure that it is something that, rolls off the tongue fairly easily, because you want to be talking about it a lot, but you also want to make sure that it is somehow representative of your business. So if it can't be, the exact name, something close to it. That combination is absolutely the foundation of what you need to do, and you need to do that right away. As you're doing this, whether you already have one or if you are looking to build one, you want to make sure that it is what they refer to as fluid and flexible, right? So the idea is that your website should adjust depending on how people are viewing it. So that could mean the difference between looking at it, on a desktop, with a reasonable size monitor. Maybe they've got it up on their TV and it's a huge monitor. Maybe they're doing it on their mobile device, right? It needs to work well for all of those users. And a portion of that is also by making your website fluid and flexible, you also gain some points for SEO and for accessibility and that type of thing. So it's really not optional anymore. If you already have a website, yes, there will be a little bit of work involved in adjusting it. If you're just starting out, just pick a template that is fluid and flexible. And how do you tell that? You take the side of your browser and you resize it. Go really big, go really small. If everything moves and stacks appropriately and still looks nice and is still readable, you're flexible and fluid. If not, then go look at something else, or, make some changes, or hire somebody like me to go and do it for you if you don't want to get your hands into that, which is totally, totally understandable. Along those same lines, right? So here's an example, right? If you're a Patreon person, I am there. I am posting stuff. I'm starting to populate it more now that I'm not dealing with so many issues like the beginning of the year brought me. But again, just like you would want whatever social you're on to have that kind of information, you want to make sure that you're putting your name into your domain name as much as possible, or wherever possible. Okay, so moving on from that, whether you have your website or you're building your website, a really important thing is to focus on it and look at it from the standpoint of whoever is visiting the site, right? What are they looking for? What are their needs? Very often when people first start to do this, their website, they see it as sort of a, hey, look at me, right? Me. It's all about me. That's not the right angle to take, right? The reason somebody's coming to your website is to find out whether or not you have something that would work for them. So make sure that your text, the structure of things, the navigation, all taps into the types of questions or thought process that somebody's going to have when they're first coming to look at you. Or maybe it's somebody that's coming back to you after having worked with you previously. So again, you want to, new people coming back, and your existing people. You want to make sure that you've got something on your website for each one of those people. And yes, you can do that on a one-page website. I've done it for people. So, you're not restricted, obviously, to a one-page website, but if that keeps it from feeling overwhelming, then do your one-page website, but keep all these things in mind. So, for example, right, make sure that your site, by answering their questions, anticipating what they're looking for, is building that know, like, and trust in you, your company, your products and services, right? So include things about like where you're located in the world. You don't have to give them your exact address if you're not comfortable with that. There's a lot of reasons not to do that. But maybe let them know where you're located in the world, because there are reasons why that might matter. Maybe they're restricted to who they can work with. Maybe they like working with more local people. Maybe they're interested in working with somebody from a different area to give them a different perspective. So make sure that that information is there. Don't keep it a secret. The sites that don't give that kind of information right away are red flagged for a lot of people. A lot of people, if you're not willing to share that basic information, and like I said, it doesn't have to be your home address, right? It just needs to be that, hey, I'm on the East Coast of the US, or, whatever level you're comfortable with. But if you don't have that there, the first thing that triggers in a human's mind is, what are you hiding? Are you real? Is this just an AI site? Is this a scam site? So you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind that you're dealing with people, and these people are trying to make sure that they're making a good decision. That's why they're researching you. And if you think about it, like if you take yourself out of it and out of your business, and you look at how you process when you're looking for things, you'll realize it. It's so funny because I'll be talking to a client and they'll be telling me about, oh, well, they were looking for, this, that, and next thing, or how they found me. And then they get, into this conversation about how, well, they looked at this and, it felt really shady. They didn't have what I was expecting to be there. But in the same conversation, then they'll want to go and do that things. And I'll be like, hang on, remember that thing we talked about top 5 minutes ago? Yeah, you're doing that. We're not going to do that to your visitors. We're going to make them feel welcome. We're going to make sure that they are feeling that they're getting their questions answered, that they're feeling informed, that they understand what what you have to offer. Sorry, doggo's barking. So if this is really, really critical, that's why I've gone on about it for so long. Along the same lines is make sure that you do an About Us, whether it's an About Us page or an About Us section. Customers want to know the story behind your brand, maybe, a little glimpse of the real people behind it, because let's face facts, right? People don't do business with a business. They really want to connect with people. That's how we're wired. We are wired as human beings to want to interact with people. So make sure that you've got an About Us, an About section, a page, whatever. And think about the types of things that people would be curious about, or the things that would make them feel more secure in their decision to possibly work with you, right? Again, if you don't have this, users are going to question why you're hiding, right? Where's your transparency? Why are you not telling me things that I need to know in order to feel comfortable or even be interested in going to the next step of reaching out to you? Along those same lines, make sure that your 404 page is useful. Now, that may feel a little geeky. 404 refers to the error that happens if somebody's looking for something on your website and it isn't there, it isn't found, or your page is down or whatever. There's a lot of things that can trigger an error page. But most people leave it in the default and it says 404 error, not found, right? Or something along those lines. The 404 page comes up a fair amount, right? It's going to happen. So you want to make sure that it's useful. Put something on there. Now, some people, go the funny route. Some people go, with just information. You can kind of balance it out however you want, but you want to make sure that there's something actionable on your 404 page. So it could be, click here to go back to our homepage, or click here to go to our search, whatever it is, click here to get, whatever, freebie we're giving, or, click here to get our coupon. Something to keep them around and to bring them back into looking at things on your website. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and your choices are going to depend on what it is you're doing, right? The choices made by a freelancer will be different from a solopreneur, will be different from a group organizer. But if you think about it again, how would you engage somebody? How would you invite them to learn more about you? And maybe what kind of little, gee, I'm sorry, here's a freebie, or, here's a quick way to go back to our search page. Give them something that makes them feel like you care, because it's really their first interaction with you when things didn't go exactly the way they expected. Make that a positive instead of a negative. And you can just do that right on your 404 page. Make sure that somewhere on your site, easy to find, well labeled, whether it's a section or, a page on your site, make sure that you explain what you do offer. What you do, what you offer. Don't assume that they know anything about you. Think like an elevator speech for this part of it, right? Because I can't tell you a number of times, I've heard about a company or whatever, or I've heard about a company and I went to search for them and I found 3 names that were sort of the familiar. And so I started to click through because I was looking for a specific thing. But they never talked about that. They talked about how wonderful they are and how you can contact us and how we'll help you, with your business. But it never told me exactly what they did. And so I couldn't tell between the 3 of them which was the one I wanted to do a deeper dive on, so I bailed. So make sure you're very clear about what you offer, the benefits that they're going to get, right? Again, it's not me, it's how I can help you. And make sure that it is easy to find, it is clear, it is written in, day-to-day language. Try not to go with a lot of buzzwords or industry terms unless that's your target audience, right? You have to balance that out. But do make sure that that's there. Another thing that far too many sites are missing is the contact us. Again, if that's not there, people are like, oh, okay, so you're going to be difficult to work with. Forget it. I don't want to deal with you. So yes, maybe it's not your favorite part of the day to be dealing with an onslaught of emails or phone calls, or people who are not actively working with you, but put the contact information on there. Pick your favorite method, right? Make it an email, give them a phone number, whatever it is that you want. Then make sure you follow up. So make sure you're monitoring that at least once a week. You're going in and you're sifting through all the stuff that comes in. And yes, that means you're going to get some spam. Yes, the bots are going to find your address. So maybe set yourself up with, like, you're going to use an email address, set yourself with a special email box that all that stuff goes into to keep the rest of your email clean. But do make sure there's a contact us, because again, if it's not there, people will walk away because they don't feel like you're trustworthy. I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying that's how it makes people feel. One more thing on this one, and that is make sure that there are call to actions on your site. So there's a lot of people out there that have their business sites. Some of them paid a lot of money to have them built. And there's, different levels of information on it, but there's nothing there that spurs somebody to do something. So that could be, signing up for the mailing list. That could be, contact us for more. That could be place your order here. Whatever it is, make sure that there are call to actions. Now make sure that there are call to actions. Make sure the call to actions are obvious. Make sure your call to actions are not obnoxious. What am I talking about here? The call to actions, like the ones that pop up, like, all over the place, all the pop-ups. No. I defy any one of you to tell me in the comments that you love when the pop-ups come up when you're trying to use a website. No, you don't. Every single one of us goes, oh, and starts closing all these things, right? So make sure that you are not being annoying when people are coming to visit you on the website. I mean, basically, you don't invite people to your house and then, kick them in the kneecaps or spill coffee on them on purpose, right? I mean, think about the fact that you're inviting people into your space. You want them to feel welcome. You want them to feel that you are trustworthy. You want them to feel like you can help them. Don't screw that up by being obnoxious with your call to action. So again, all of these things are a bit of a balancing point, but this one's pretty clear, right? You don't want the pop-ups. You don't want to be annoyed. You don't want, as you're going to click a different page, that one coming up, my favorite, not, oh, don't leave. No, I'm going to look at another page on your site. So no, don't do those things. Okay, so just a reminder. I mean, I did bring this up before, but I did want to talk about this also. Sorry, wrong button. If you would like more of this, if you want to support this channel, make it so that I can keep doing this and do more of it, you can sign up here at the Patreon. There's free levels and there are paid levels. So if you want to test drive it, go right ahead, check that out. Or if you just want to, support the channel, thank you. Appreciate that more than words can say. So you can go ahead and do that there. All right, let's get that off there. Let's keep going. All right, another thing that is absolutely crucial to make sure you've got on your website, again, whatever size that website is, make sure you put your social media links on there. Okay, now, if you were here last week, we talked about how your social media links should include a bunch of different things, including your other social medias, your website. That's why we're here. But make sure that's also working in reverse, right? So make sure if somebody comes to your website, they find out that, hey, you're on YouTube. Hey, you're, on Instagram. Hey, you've got a Substack. Put those links in there, because then you're going to drive traffic there where you're doing different content than you're probably putting on your website. Not that it's necessity, you can do the both. But it's another way to keep your audience engaged. It's another way to provide more information, more value to them. And also, frankly, it's another way to help your super fans, right? Your super customers, your super clients who want to share your information because they're so thrilled with the results that they've gotten from you. Give them all the tools. Make it easy for them. Next up, make sure that your website, you are testing and retesting your links and checking out the site on different devices. Again, right? Don't just look at it on, your laptop. Look at it on a bigger computer screen. Look at it on your Chromebook or your tablet. Look on it for your phone. Put it up on your TV. Make sure that it's behaving and looking the way you want. Testing those links is really important. Now, there are some tools out there that you can use to kind of automate some of that, but also go through and click on it once in a while. Visit it like you're expecting your visitors to visit it, and make sure they're having a good experience, because again, all of this is laying the groundwork for their initial conversation with you or reaching out to you, however that's going to happen depending on how you do your business. If you don't care enough, in their eyes, if you don't care enough and you've got broken links on your site, again, you're now eroding trust. You're now positioning yourself maybe not as a great resource for them and their whatever their needs are. So all of this is about putting yourself in the best possible light, providing them with the information they need, and then encouraging them to reach out to you. And you don't want to do anything or leave anything lingering out there, like the web pages that people put out there. That's why I say start with a one-pager, right? A lot of people like to start with, a 50-page website, and 48 of those pages say content coming later. Right? No, please don't do that to yourself. So make sure that you are taking care of things and that you're keeping an eye on it. Now, I understand we're all busy. I understand that it's tough to be a solopreneur, freelancer, all of those things, right? Because we're wearing a lot of hats. But this is important. So you're going to want to absolutely make sure you're doing it yourself. And, you can reach out to friends or family, right? Like Ace just said, right? You can go ahead and you can ask them. Let's see if this is working today. No, that's not working. My apologies. But Ace is absolutely right. So you want to make sure that the resources that you have available are going and helping you out. So friends and family, ask them to go look at the site once in a while. Like I said, there are tools that you can use. Most of them do have a charge, but they will automate some of it, but you still want humans to look at it. You could even, hire a VA temporarily to do it. So there's a lot of different options, but it is key to making yourself look like the professional company that you are. Okay, so that was 5. We're going to go to 6 because, again, just like last time, I couldn't leave this one off, and it really didn't fit into anything else. But that is, you want to make sure that your website has what they call an SSL certificate, right? Sometimes they also call it a digital certificate. So you want to make sure that you've got that and that it is out there for everybody to see, because if your site is not secure, I think it's secure socket layer is that's the SSL. Doesn't really matter. The point is that is the thing that gives your website the little lock icon, to let everybody know that it's secure. Here's why this is important. Some browsers or some VPNs or some virus checkers or malware checkers will inform your visitors with a big red warning sign saying that this site is unsecured and you may not want to trust it. Okay, you don't want anything coming up telling people who are coming to check out your site that you're not trustworthy, right? So that's going to immediately stir feelings of doubt and mistrust in the business, in your site. And most people are not even going to risk it, right? They're going to get that message and they're going to go, whoa, and they're going to leave that site before even going past to see. So they've not only had a bad first impression, but they've bailed on that bad first impression. So super important. Please make sure that you're doing that. There's different ways to do this, and I can do a whole deep dive on the security thing. But basically, whoever you're getting your website from can usually set you up with that. Some services like Squarespace, for example, if you have your web hosting and your domain with them, they automatically give you a free SSL. So lots of options out there. And if you're curious, personally, I love Squarespace because it's the sweet spot between really easy to get up and running fast, but also giving you lots of control and lots of customization options if you want them. So there is a link in the description, so you can go and check that out. For you folks who are watching on the social platforms, you just go to the place and do the linking, and it's in the link tree. Okay, so just to summarize where we're at here, website, not optional. You need to have it. Needs to be at least one page. And the point of it is to say who you are, your credentials, talk about your team, your history, what makes you different. Talk in detail about the exact services, products you offer. Be very specific, not generic. Make it clear and make it easy for them to find. Talk about who you target, right? One of the other things that people are asking when they look at your website is this the right fit for me? And do you work with me? Right? So if, for example, maybe you're a landscaper, but you only do commercial, well, then you don't want, Joe Jones down the street coming to you because you don't work with residential. So be upfront about that, unless you're open to both, in which case make that clear. Talk about where you are and where you can serve them, right? So some people have a in-person kind of business, so you want to make sure that you're clear about that, right? I'm located here and can help people in this area, so that, for example, if you are based in Chicago, right, and you are a hands-on in-person kind of service or goods or whatever, then you want to be clear, because you don't want to waste the time of somebody coming in from India who hit on your site, right? Because you're not going to be able to help them. You're not going to be able to be in person unless you're willing to travel and do that, in which case let them know that. Make sure your website works for visitors the way they need it. Any device, make sure it's accessible, make sure it's got the information that they need to answer their questions, make sure that it is resizable and flexible and all that kind of stuff. And make sure that when you're doing this, you are not focusing too much on the visual appearance, and instead focus on the content, because the content is clear. Yes, obviously you want it to look nice, you want it to feel approachable, you want it to be something that you're proud of. But I have seen, and I've worked with too many people who get very excited about doing their website, put a lot of effort into it, but then will spend 6 months, a year, 2 years grinding on, I don't like that picture, or that isn't quite the shade of green I wanted. At some point, just suck it up and put it out there and move forward. You can always change it later. Websites are constantly evolving. So don't hesitate. Get it out there, get the information, focus on the information, and then you can go ahead from there. So as always, thanks for joining today's screen. Don't forget, do the like, the subscribe. All that stuff really does help. That's why we all say it. And if you are, interested in staying on top of things, of course, you can reach out, and join here for free. And do let me know in the comments if you like this kind of content. If there's something in particular you would like me to cover, please feel free to let me know that, because I'm building out the schedule for the next quarter. So I'm more than happy to consider whatever content you folks would like to see done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate it. For you folks who power all the way through the end, I appreciate you so much. Like, I don't know if you really understand, but I really do appreciate it. So I'm going to talk a little bit more in the bonus tips about how to secure your website. And really the key of it is what I mentioned earlier. To ensure that your site is secure, make sure you're using a host platform that is reputable. You don't want to go with Joe's website unless you've really vetted them. And then make sure that you have an SSL, so the Secure Socket Layer certification there, also called digital certificating for some people. Depending on who your provider is, you may need to purchase and set up the SSL. Or maybe you need to purchase it and they'll set it up for you. You'll need to talk to their tech support team. However, a lot of the bigger hosts like Squarespace, if you're using them for hosting and your domain is with them as well, and by the way, you can transfer, like if you have your domain someplace else, you can transfer it to Squarespace and vice versa. But with Squarespace and some other services like that, all domains that are created there are automatically protected with the free SSL certificate. So it's a bonus to whatever fees you're charged with them. All right, everybody good? Go get your one-page website at least. If you have a current website and it was created in the 1980s, please get it updated to make it fluid and flexible. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me here. There is a forum there. If it's a question I can answer quickly via email, just make sure you give me your email so that I can do that. Otherwise, all I can do is cover it in a future show. Or if you want one-on-one help, you can also do that there. Okay? Thank you all so much. I hope you're having a good spring season. Hopefully not too much rain. And we will talk to you next week. Devo's being funny. Devo says, I'm still working on making mine Y2K compliant. You probably want to get that done too. You can do that all at once. All right, everybody. Have a good one. We will talk again soon. And if you are looking to play some games tonight, we will be playing games on Twitch. Same name that you have here. Probably around 11:30 Eastern time. So feel free to join us if you want. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.